A State Department memorandum from March 3, 1922, hoped that Americans considering making foreign loans would provide the State Department, at the appropriate time, with all the details and important developments. Though it did acknowledge that it couldn't actually obligate everyone thinking about lending money abroad to consult with them. But why did the State Department care so much? Well, one of the United States government's number one priorities was to prevent loans to nations that hadn't yet made arrangements to fund and pay off their war debts. That also included no loans to the states, municipalities, and private enterprises within that country. Bankers who were consulting the State Department were informed that the government objected to this financing. This objection did prevent loans to at least one country in 1925, and it laid the groundwork for the State Department to influence other types of loans. In one case, the State Department objected to a loan to Brazil's coffee cartel, arguing that the money would be used to keep coffee prices high around the world, and American consumers would be the ones who paid the price. The State Department also objected to loans made for non-productive purposes. The reasoning here was that if it became difficult to repay these loans, it might throw another wrench into diplomacy. It's interesting to note that, in all its efforts to weed out non-productive loans that could put a damper on the U.S.'s relationship with other countries, the State Department failed to mention the inter-ally arms debts, which were the incarnation of unproductiveness. They didn't make anything. In fact, they had financed the destruction of things and people who could have made things. No comment was made on the resentment America's hard line on the debt's timely repayment was brewing either. Professor Hudson explains, quote, "The question no longer remains open why the United States continued to refuse to acknowledge the tie between German reparations and the inter-ally debts after the reparations were fixed. The Allies did, indeed, need German funds to pay their armaments debts to the United States." End quote. The U.S. drained the Allies of money, as the Allies drained Germany. Thanks for watching episode 17 of this series on Super Imperialism, the Economic Strategy of American Empire, by economist and professor Michael Hudson. If you'd like to know how World War I set the stage for the U.S.'s rise to global economic power, you can check out the previous episodes. And for what happened next, stay tuned for part 18.